Welcome, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Dr. Corie Brown. As the interim artistic director of the Peninsula Women's Chorus this spring, I'm thrilled to share the chorus's artistry and hard work with you. Throughout the past 10 weeks, we've taken time as an ensemble to not only continue singing and rehearsing together over Zoom, but to reflect on what this past year has been like, both individually and as a choir. This Menti poll from one of our conversations sums up our wide range of experiences and might reflect some of what you may have experienced as well. This afternoon, we invite you to consider the past year's hardships and joys, losses and silver linings through the music of 6 North American composers, which we recorded individually in our homes and wove together into a virtual choir. We interspersed 4 incredible living American poets' works amidst the songs that also speak directly to our current moment, and are grateful that the poets themselves were able to read their works for us. The arc of our concert starts with the darkness and isolation present in our shared experience, and later moves to a celebration of community and interconnectivity. Our first set begins with Randall Thompson's Come In, with the flute representing the thrush's song, Hope Amidst Darkness, and Loretta Walker's heartbreaking commentary on the longing for touch. We continue with Caroline Shaw's exquisite Dolce Cantavi, featuring 2 fabulous groups of soloists on the first 2 verses. And finally, we join the national conversation around justice and equity, facing fear, and speaking out with Moira Smiley's I Have a Voice. We were so excited to be able to work virtually with Moira as she helped us adapt the body percussion and movement for virtual choir. Her text reminds us that we each do have a voice and will continue to listen, to speak out, and to sing. Without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy We Have a Voice.
As I came to the edge of the woods, thrush music, hark. Now if it was dusk outside, inside it was dark. Too dark in the wood for a bird, by sleight of wing, to better its perch for the night. Oh, it's still could see.
will we desire touch? Will we desire touch after the COVID-19 kryptonite is discovered? Will we desire touch, that primitive longing swaddled in our lives before birth? Will it be more desirable than clasping light between our teeth in a world darkening with dread? Before this phantom smuggled panic in our lives, beliefs broke friendships, family relationships. Kind words became crushed bricks, crumbled from the weight of anger's battering. Curious how this fear forces wide the circle of distance, how this invisible separates us. And those souls who depend on a stranger's touch for comfort, a brush of fingertips from the grocery clerk, a bump from the waitress burdened with too many trays, a pat on the back from the worker at a soup kitchen, the volunteer who rocks an orphan child in the neonatal intensive care unit. Is there a surrogate for the warm arc of flesh? Oh, to fill air and lungs, lives and loneliness with the dust of crushed kind words. Let their film cover computer, telephone, television screens. Let their residue stick to hands flush against glass as they reach for companionship from the pit of isolation. And for those whose hands cannot reach beyond cardboard boxes, may they hear friendly voices echoing from heart to heart in this dark season of distancing.
An excerpt from Sheltering in Place, a praise poem. Praising the world, praising the skyscape, praising the spangled waters and the people upon the waters and on the land and in the sky, praising the deep-grained wonder of faces mapped by the roads that all have traveled, praising the barking seal and the owl's silent wing launch, and every interlinked tree and interlinked life, and the cat's great roundness, and the yes in the grin of the dog, praising the day, even as the night wraps her arms around us.
Listen. Speak out. Listen. Sing. Listen. 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 Speak out. Speak out. Speak out. Speak out. Listen. 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 Sing. Take the space, make a sound. Take the space, make a sound. Sound, 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 sound. Take the space, make a sound. Sound, 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 sound. Take the space, make a sound. Make a sound, make a sound. Take the space, make a sound. Take the space, make a sound. Sound, sound, sound. Take the space, make a sound. Sound, sound, sound. Take the space, make a sound. Sound, sound, sound. Sound trembles and it shakes like thunder. Trembles and it shakes like thunder. Trembles and shakes like thunder. Trembles and it shakes like thunder. Trembles and shakes like thunder. Wake the sleeping lioness. Wake the sleeping lioness. Wake the sleeping lioness. Lioness. Wake the sleeping lioness. Wake the sleeping lioness. Wake the sleeping lioness. Ah, thunder catches my heart. Ah, thunder fills my lungs. Thunder takes my breath. Ah, thunder fills my lungs. Thunder
Thank you so much. We move now to our second set, which begins with an homage to our future generations, with whom we got to spend lots of time or with whom we longed to spend time. We speak to this need for family and for human connection. During Sarah Cortell's beautiful God Will Give Orders, featuring cellist Émile Milland, you'll get to see some joyous home videos of our singers and their families singing together during this time. And finally, although we know that for so many in the world, the fight for health, vaccinations, and stability is not over, this afternoon we pause to celebrate where we are now and our shared resilience and tenacity as we enter into this new chapter with the quintessential treble choir gospel piece, "The Storm is Passing Over."
Waltz for Young Daughters. In the rocking chair of a dream, white lace ribbons of memory, a waltz for young daughters, aspen leaves shimmering in the shoulder of the wind. Open the edges of your body to the wings of a floating swan, collision of a blue star with the grace of an angel. On the cello, even playing the scales sounds like honey as you weave a new song on your grandmother's loom. The attic is filled with boxes of old lace, light slanting from a high window, netting and roses on hats from an earlier century. Heirloom roses unfold their petals in the garden, pink as the cadence of your singing. Open the painted boxes, carry the yellow silk of your ribbons into a blooming world. Fill the new century with the shimmering of your dreams.
that we will learn to show them love like a child who knows no wrong from being loved by those who've taught them faith like a child, forever strong. The circle goes on. Sweet child, sweet child, sweet like a child can hear the song, a song that falls on ears of those who wait like a child for peace to come, and trust that we will learn to show them love like a child who knows no wrong from being loved by those who taught them faith like a child, forever strong. The circle goes on. Sweet child, hear my song. Sweet child, I will show you how to love.
For the asking. Ask priests or the moon what sings behind the night's curtain. Ask mosquitoes or sadists the purpose of torment. Ask liars or red maples where to drip sticky sweetness. Ask babies or cats why they pummel soft objects. Ask nurses or doves how to mourn complete strangers. Ask children or sparrows what blackberries taste like. Then arrange all their answers in a box lined with stars, wistful tears, and soft wool. Leave the whole parcel out for the dustman's collection of pandemic nightmares and dreams.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
Hello everyone, I'm 𝗕𝗿𝗁𝗿𝗏, President of the Peninsula Women's Chorus Board of Directors. I hope you're enjoying watching our live stream spring concert as much as we enjoyed creating it. The chorus had a fantastic time working with our interim artistic director, Dr. Corie Brown, and we would like to thank her for all her work with us. I do hope you'll join us after the concert for a fireside chat with Corie and some brief remarks by Moira Smiley, composer of I Have a Voice. Please follow the link on your screen at the end of the concert. At this time, I'd like to announce the 2021 winner of the Ann Cover Anderson Award for Outstanding Volunteer Effort for PWC. This year's winner is 𝐸𝐚𝐯𝐿𝐜𝐞. Congratulations, Kathleen! Not only is she a singer, but among her many volunteer roles are long-term member and past president of the Board of Directors, past chorus coordinator, past gala chairperson, and current treasurer. We're very thankful for all her efforts on PWC's behalf. I'm very excited to announce that we're currently planning to have a live concert in December. We can't wait to see you in person. We will also be live streaming this concert, so you can see it from the comfort of your home if you'd prefer. And I do hope you will continue to support us through your donations. If you'd like to donate at this time, you can either use the donation functionality on Feel It Live to support PWC by exiting full screen mode during the concert, or you can donate at any time on our website, www.pwchorus.org. Once again, thanks for listening, and we hope to see you at the fireside chat and again in December for our next concert.
Thank you, Tricia, and to the Board of Directors for your support during the past season. I would be remiss not to take a moment to express my gratitude for those who helped make this afternoon a reality. It truly takes a robust village like this to pull off a full virtual concert. Thank you especially to the 4 section leaders, Jen, Sarah, Deanne, and Elisa, without whose musical assistance this concert would not have been possible. To 𝗵𝗁𝗔𝗐, who did all of our excellent marketing and publicity. To Jungmi Kim for your beautiful graphic design. And to each singer who shared your voice with me every rehearsal and every recording. It's an honor to work with musicians and humans who make what could have been a challenging process smooth and joy-filled. We have returned to the essential and are so grateful that you, our audience, have reaffirmed that the arts, indeed choral music, is essential. We have, are, and will continue to make music with you, for you, and with your support. And now, the storm is passing over. Have a wonderful evening.
Have courage, my soul, and let us journey on. Though the night is dark and I am far from home, thanks be to God, the morning light appears. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. Hallelujah. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing The storm is passing over.
Okay. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm Morgan Ames. I'm a professor at UC Berkeley and an alto too here in PWC. And I want to extend a warm welcome to you all and a really hearty thank you for joining us today and hearing us sing. In the next hour, we'll dive into the behind the scenes process of creating We Have a Voice to toast the hard work of the PWC members. So first, just a few logistics. We do encourage you, if you don't mind, to turn on your cameras. We just love to see your faces. We love to see who's here with us. We encourage you to use the chat. Please use the chat feature to engage with us, ask questions. Please do stay muted though, and we'll go into breakouts later when you'll unmute, you'll have a chance to chat, but in the big group, it's just a little hard to manage unmuting at this point. But do please ask questions. The chat is a great place. You can send them to our co-host question moderator, and there'll be a chance to ask some open-ended questions at the end. We also invite you to join a Menti poll. Go to www.menti.com and type in the code that you see here in the screen, 55319578. I'd like to now turn things over to our interim artistic director, Corie Brown, who, along with some special guests, will let us in on the making of We Have a Voice.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Morgan, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you all so much for being here. It's just a joy to see your faces on this video screen, to see your comments during the concert, and to just get to share a little bit with you in a more informal manner this evening about the behind the scenes of We Have a Voice. I am really excited to get to our special guests, but first I just want to start out by sharing, I guess, the seed for this program, sharing a little bit about my own artistic process before we go on to hear. I know you're all eager to hear from the one and only Moira Smiley. The seed of this concert began in one of the many times spent cleaning during the pandemic. This summer, I was cleaning out a lot of papers and going through, of course, as we have all probably done, all of the stuff that we want to get rid of during the pandemic. And I came upon a quote that I had taken during a class in Boulder during my doctorate about some performance psychology. Richard Schechner has written books on the functions of performance and why we perform. And as I scroll through these on your screen, I think some of these will come as aha moments to you, and some of them are, of course, obvious: to entertain. We perform also to create beauty, to mark or change identity, to make or foster community, to heal. Then sometimes we perform to teach or to persuade. And last, often in religious or sacred contexts, we deal with the sacred or demonic. For me, when I read this summer, a light bulb went off. And of course, we know that oftentimes we perform to entertain, but I think sometimes when we return to these essential ideas of why we perform, to create beauty, to heal, a light bulb went off. And I thought this would be a great program to really think about not only how we can entertain, but how we as a community are healing from trauma or from a past year and a half of isolation, and how we can, mark or change our identity through the music that we program. So fast forward to when I was thinking about actual pieces for this afternoon's performance, and I decided to kind of take us through what I felt like, and after talking to many of you, I think what many of you felt like was a journey in the past year and a half. As you heard, the first Thompson come in was the darkness that we all felt, I think, at some point. The isolation, Robert Frost's incredible poetry that really touches on both that hope, but that darkness and that searching for the light amidst darkness. And then as we went through the program, you could probably tell that we went into, in the Moira Smiley, of course, the reckoning that our country is undergoing right now. This summer it was race related, and it continues. We continue to have these discussions and delve into this world of listening and activism. And then, of course, we have all been connected to family, right? Or disconnected from family, as I said in the comments. And so bringing in Sarah Cortell's piece, I thought would be really fitting to kind of comment on this time of feeling connected or disconnected. And then, of course, at the end, we have returned to this essential, to the connection, that need for touch, that need for community. And when I was programming this, I didn't know that just 2 days before our concert, we would have an announcement that, yes, the CDC says that we can be outside without masks, or that we would have the vaccine even. But of course, now we're in this stage of hope and of excitement at being able to return to singing together finally after such a long time. So I think that that was kind of the scope and the process that I went through to kind of program this concert, and to help us to mark our time, to heal from our time, to create beauty in our time, even amidst that darkness. I also want to let you in quickly before we bring up Moira. on the process, on the actual process. So that was my process, thinking about how I program a little bit. But often people ask me, how are you doing choir on Zoom? What is going on? And the beauty, as I see other choir conductors here, is that we each do things a little bit differently. We each interpret what will work, or we figure out what will work the best for specific rehearsals, for specific choirs. And so I just want to let you in a little bit on kind of the process of this. The first thing that I do, of course, is I share the score with all involved, the annotated score. Then we take that score and we scan it into Finale or Sibelius, and we create the MIDI files. The MIDI files are incredibly challenging to sing to because, as you can imagine, it's just note, note, note. Even if we add some dynamics, it doesn't have that vibrancy of a human voice because it's a computer voice. And so our section leaders went through the incredible time-consuming process to create vocal tracks that went on top of those MIDI guides. And I think that, you can nod your heads or shake your heads, choir members, but for me personally, it was incredibly helpful for the section leaders to hear the actual voices as I was conducting, as you were singing, etc. Yes, I see the head nods. So section leaders have a special place in all of our hearts for creating those vocal guides. Then we mix it together and we put those guides up on YouTube for people to play and sing along with. Then we go and record our video and audio that, although this step I'm going to breeze through, takes many, many takes and so long to kind of get the hang of recording and getting the light just right for our videos and making sure that, we're putting our T's in the right places and singing the correct vowels, etc. And then the sixth step is uploading all of those files and sending them to the incredible Arts Laureate. I saw Christian Amundsen here. I'm not sure if he's still here, but Arts Laureate did an incredible job collecting all of our files and then going through and editing along with me. I worked back and forth with their incredible editors. And then the last step is that Arts Laureate mastered and combined the audio with the videos. It's a lot of steps to make these virtual choirs a success. And while there's lots of different ways to do this, I think that this was incredibly successful and a wonderful process, even though it was a long process for the PWC this semester. So I'm going to go out of my screen share, and I would like to share with you a little bit of the excitement that I felt the first time that I decided to program this Moira Smiley piece, I Have a Voice. And in our first collaboration, Moira is known for her beautiful, energetic, rhythmic compositions and her collaboration across different genres. And I have always been attracted to Moira's, her presence, right? Her presence not only on the stage as a performer herself, but then also as a composer. And her voice really is clear and shines through in all of her pieces. She also has such great presence when she incorporates this embodied body percussion. And I'm really, really excited to get a chance to talk with Moira and to just share some of the excitement that we both felt in our first collaboration when we first met back in, I think it was January, in a Zoom call together, talking about how can we adapt this to the screen. So welcome, Moira. If you want to unmute yourself, I'm really, really excited to have you here. Thanks for taking your time from the East Coast, I'm presuming. Thanks for being here.
Oh no, Moira, we're not hearing you.
It's all good. I will fill while you're figuring out technical difficulties. No worries. So, so Moira and I met, and we decided that we were going to figure out how to adapt the movement and the body percussion for the screen. And so there we go. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, and you were doing such beautiful work doing that, Corie. Hi everybody, sorry about that. You immediately had these ideas that were perfect for the screen, and the examples that we had before, the performances of these of pieces were mostly by younger women's choirs, and so there was film of the whole body, legs and arms, and quite wide stances, and so Corie came up with this beautiful picture that was here, and I thought it was a brilliant way to adapt this to the moment that we were in. So I really appreciated that.
Thanks. Yeah, it was a total team effort. We really just sat there and thought, what would create connectivity? How can we fit this within a screen and yet not feel kind of cramped in? How can we make it feel free? How can it be doable for everyone? Yeah. So before we get into the body percussion specifics, though, Moira, would you just frame this piece for us? Would you frame the time in which you wrote it, and then kind of connect it to our now?
Yeah, absolutely. I will start by saying I first came up with the line for this while I was traveling in Singapore with the band 𝐸∗₂₈ₐ₀, which is an Oakland-based band. And actually, I was at the house, the band base of 𝐸₂₈₈₀ when I first talked with Corie in January, because we were doing filming for national TV shows and a release of a new album. But during that tour, we were in rock venues and rock festivals and making this huge sound. I was one of two backup singers, and so I was experiencing the excitement of that music and feeling some impetus to compose my own music, and had a few commissions at the time to complete, but not feeling confident in that voice, both on a sort of social level, and also I guess it was mostly as a composer, sort of a person that has something to say or a way of saying something. And so and then when I actually wrote the piece for the ACDA conference, which was it was a commission that included and was paid for 40 different choirs associated with the American Choral Directors Association. So it was a real honor to write this piece. And I would say that the first piece, which was written, I had skipped Christmas with my family because I was behind schedule, and I felt that I had to finish this and turn it in by January 1st. So I left Vermont, which is where I was supposed to celebrate with my family, and I abandoned. And I'm still living this down with my mother, but I abandoned them to go to LA, stay in a friend's house, and finish this piece. And so there was very much a declaration of, you are going to find your voice. And that is, both metaphorical and literal in this. What do you have to say? How do you listen well to the moment? And how do you combine those in a conversation with a very confusing world? And so that was the task I put up before myself. And I would say that it was such a wonderful thing and a challenging thing to bring this to the conversation that we had as a choir, the Peninsula Women's Choir. We had a community event, and actually I wondered if you wanted to talk about that part at all, Corie.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that framing with us. So we bring this piece now to our current time, and we talked about in this rehearsal. Moira came and joined us in two wonderful rehearsals, and in one of them, I think it was the second, that we were really talking about how we make it fit with our current time, and also how we interpret it so that it feels authentic to each of us in whatever moment we are in our lives. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was about generational, making it make sense, as a woman that is not a teenager, which is the examples that we had on the internet at that point, was of young women singing this. So there were lines like, I am not afraid. I am not afraid. No, no, no. This kind of almost breathy, ingenue kind of energy, this sort of, or this almost a looking up, or an expression of the lack of sureness that I think a lot of the people in this community, a lot of the women were saying, I'm not in that phase in my life right now, which I thought was wonderful.
Yeah, it was really a fruitful discussion, and I think it was a turning point in our rehearsal process and our interpretation of this piece, how we really connected it to, again, that place that we currently were in. Another phrase that I remember that came up was just the word listen. I'm not afraid, and then also listen. What does that mean for each of us? And how can we make that personal to us? Some of our members, I don't want to speak, you all are here, you can speak for yourselves, but I got the feeling that some of us said in that conversation that it was listen, right? And then some of us were like, listen, right?
Yeah.
Or some of us were going, listen. So you would have seen in the video that we made the decision as a group to interpret that as we wished,
gesturally
to what fit us and what fit kind of how we're interpreting that one word and that one action individually. Wow. And I think that's a really powerful thing. How can we interpret as a choir, but then how can we each individually interpret a piece and make it our own within the context of the choir?
Yeah. Yeah. And it is so different. And I think that would have been a discussion to have even in a live context, in a live performance context, but it's even more important as you are doing this in the isolation of your own space and trying to be true, trying to be authentic as you're singing this, without sort of the tacit agreement that happens in a communal setting. Yeah.
Moira, can we just back up really quickly, and would you share with us, so many of us get very excited when the words body percussion come up, then sometimes some of us get a little anxious when the words body percussion come up, and maybe everything in between. Could you just share with us, you've been in this profession now for a while, you've been incorporating movement into your works for a while. Why body percussion? Why body percussion in choirs? And
I love this question because I think I come from I grew up in New England. I'm beaming into you right now from Vermont. But I went to music school. I went to Indiana University as a pianist, and then moved over into early music. So very, very, very nerdy music, and I was into it. But at that time, I was feeling that music was quite a physical expression for me when it was at its most joyful, and in fact, when music was moving through me in a physical way, it was almost ecstatic, almost like nothing I had experienced up until that point, because, we're not taught, many of us are not sort of taught to be comfortable in our bodies, maybe except for in athletics. And so I felt that I wanted to sort of merge this beautiful thing of harmony singing and being in a group with some of the powerful energy that I felt with gesture and also watching dancers and watching how being in a groove together just looked beautiful, and I know felt good to each of the singers. So I guess I now talk about body percussion as the why is because I want people to feel able to be expressionist, a little bit expressionist, and also to feel that joy of entrainment, I guess, I think is what you call it, when your body is moving in sync and you're sort of creating one body by doing the same gesture with each other. Yeah, I think that's why.
I love that word, entrainment.
Yeah, it's very somatic.
And of course, just again, kudos to all of the choir for really having the nerve and having the bravery to do this on our own. I talked about it a little bit in one of our mini trailers, but I'll say it again here. Choirs we have this pack mentality. We have this mentality where we rely on the people in front of us and behind us and to the sides and then across the choir. And then of course we get energy from the audience normally and from the conductor, etc. And of course, we're all doing this in our homes in front of a blank background, trying to not mess up the body percussion, but we don't get that energy from the people around us, and we don't get that sense of confidence and that sense of communal joy. Like you said, I love you bringing the joy into our process, and we just cannot get that when we're recording with an iPhone and just us in a room. So, again, kudos to the choir for envisioning that energy and kind of just pretending that it was there. And then, thank you, Moira, for helping us adapt this. I think that it was really an exciting process for me and for the choir as well.
Oh, no need to thank me. Yeah, thanks for doing it and doing it your own way. Yeah, that was the nourishment for me, is hearing how you would do it your own way. And you put it all together, and what a beautiful whole thing, what an enormous amount of work and artistry went into this whole thing. And congratulations to all of you. Yeah. And to Arts Laureate too, doing a beautiful job.
Absolutely. I want to pause just now before Moira goes off into East Coast time. I want to pause just, I don't know, Morgan, are there any questions that have come up that we want to pause for?
Yeah, there are just a couple. One was, sorry, I'm scrolling back through. One was about process and how the singers got such uniform backgrounds and lighting.
Oh, yes. Well, thank you to Christian Amundsen for coming in and talking to us in, I think, our second rehearsal about lighting and all of the different variants of where the light comes from and how it affects shadows. And we had a whole session that was so incredibly helpful. I think that we all know 10 million times more about lighting and how it can affect how our videos come across. And we just kind of focused on that uniformity in what are we wearing, what are we presenting, what do we want to share through this specific recording. So yeah, it was just the beauty is in the details.
There was another question about the Caroline Shaw piece, whether it was written for a room full of teeth, if you happen to know.
That was not written for a room full of teeth. No, that was written for 𝐇𝐚𝐯, the vocal ensemble, that has a beautiful recording up one on a part. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, Room Full of Teeth, I love though.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions specific for I Have a Voice or Moira before we let her go? Do you have anything else to add about this collaboration together?
I love the insistence on this, and I think this is perfect for choral music, this insistence on listening, on the idea of song as a powerful way to move in the world. I've been reading a book called This is the Voice, and I recommend it to anybody who is interested in the origin of our voices, of our language. It's a really great book, and it really underpins the idea that our voices, our ability to speak, but also the rhythm, the musicality of speaking and singing, obviously, is how we are human. It's what makes us human, and how, in a way, we distinguish ourselves from the animal kingdom, if you will, even though I believe strongly that we are part of it. But, you know, I don't hold myself or humans way above it. But this voice and our ability to communicate is essential to our being human. And so this program very much underlines that to me. So thank you.
Thanks again so much, Moira. Yeah, we'll end on that note, being human, bringing in our humanity, that above all the pandemic has allowed us to again come to terms with. Yeah, thanks so much for being here with us this evening. A really fruitful collaboration.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, my pleasure, and congratulations, everybody. Woo!
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We look forward to more collaboration.
Yes, please. Okay, I'll mute now.
We have so many more collaborations that we were able to do this in the past 10 weeks, and I just want to highlight a few of them. The first really truly collaborative effort was between myself and the section leaders, and it was so much fun to get to know the choir through the section leaders, even before I met the choir, even before our first rehearsal. So I want to ask Jen Davidson Kim to just share a little bit about that process. Jen is the S1 section leader, and I just want to ask you to kind of introduce yourself and then just share a little bit about kind of the most fruitful part of the process of collaborating as a section leader in this process.
Sure. Hi guys, I'm Jen. I'm a soprano 1 and I'm the soprano 1 section leader. I've been with PWC for 2 years now, and it's been great. I think the most fruitful process for the virtual season has definitely been, I think, meeting more regularly with my fellow sopranos in the section. So in the last year, I've worked from home. I've only seen my spouse and my dogs pretty much. And so having a built-in group of people and women to see every week and catch up with has been amazing. And creating and maintaining that sense of community has been really nice. It's been kind of a byproduct of this, because before, during our normal seasons, I would pretty much just see my section or see the folks behind me when I turned around in rehearsal just once a week. And then we only met like every 3 weeks. But during the virtual season, we actually met every single week. So I got to see these folks a lot more, and it was really great. I guess one other thing was getting to work with 2 new artistic directors was definitely really cool. We had worked with Martine for so long, and he's amazing. He was one of the reasons why I joined PWC, but getting to to work with different people and seeing their skills and feeling their energy was also really awesome.
What an incredible thing, and what a treat that you all, I think the resilience of continuing to just go on through your seasons and continue to make music is testament to the PWC's strength and the community going into the pandemic. But we know, Jen, that nothing is perfect, and I want you to let our audience members in as well, just to like one tricky thing that was, that was a challenge throughout this process, either as a singer or as a section leader.
Yeah, I think maybe the trickiest thing for myself, I think for other people as well, was adjusting to singing by yourself. So we're all in a chorus because we love singing with other people, and it's an experience. It's like it can be exhilarating, it can be really beautiful, and it's almost magical in a way. Magical, actually, like really magical, because somehow when you're singing with other people, your voice actually sounds better to yourself. Like it magically makes us all sound amazing. So like when you actually just hear yourself by yourself, you almost feel naked. And so I think that was the hardest thing, is just getting used to singing by yourself and hearing your own voice as much as we did during this time.
Thank you so much, Jen. I really appreciate your help and all of the section leaders' help. Truly, without you all, this would not have been possible. So thank you for coaching us and guiding us, and all of your extra time and effort. Yes, snaps, applause to our section leaders.
Awesome.
I also want to bring into the conversation about collaboration two of our 4 poets. When we were thinking about how to glue these pieces together, of course, as I mentioned, in my mind, I had the scope of kind of starting at the beginning of the darkness of the pandemic, and then, showing the process, a little bit of our process, our collective shared experience. But I wanted to glue them together in an additional way. And I heard very quickly that we had a few poets in the ensemble. And I was really excited by the possibility of not only representing the poetry that is natural in choral music, but also adding some additional poems interspersed throughout the program, as you saw. And so I've asked Barbara Saxton and Loretta to speak on behalf of, although Harmony and Diane are also here, shout out to Harmony and Diane's poems and beauty. But I just want to ask Barbara to kind of introduce and just share a little bit about how we, as a team, curated and found these poems that ended up being acting as kind of glue throughout our program. Hi, Barbara. Welcome.
Hi. I unmuted. Am I audible? Okay. Well, as you just said, music and poetry interweave in so many different ways, and they're both capable of transforming the listener. This is accomplished through thought and emotion-provoking contradictions, good versus evil, humans and nature, light and dark, even life and death. And even without lyrics, music can actually cause listeners to process what they hear and treat music as a soundtrack for their lives. Now, adding words or poetry to the mix can affect the ways that we react and relate to a composition, a musical composition, and each listener's interpretation or takeaway can be quite different. One example is that in January, when we first began rehearsing on Zoom, Randall Thompson's Come In with the poem by Robert Frost, we were still in the midst of a post-holiday COVID upswing. We were in the midst of considerable racial and political unrest, the Capitol insurrection, and I, on a more personal level, had just gone through reeling from a close friend's suicide. Now, that affected my interpretation of the poem and the way that I could sing it. You know, in a virtual choir piece, you have to do many takes by yourself, and some of them, just listening to the lyrics of this poem, I could barely make it through, and I had to redo them. At the time, Come In was for me about grief. It was about needing to get outdoors to be able to escape the pain and the abandonment and the fear. I interpreted the thrush as a bit of a bully, actually, and he was urging me to get back inside and lament, which I didn't always want to do. And yet his beautiful song really reminded me of the spirit of my missing friend. Now, at rehearsal, we met in breakout rooms, and my PWC singer colleagues gave their interpretations of the poem, some of which were extremely different from my own, of course, and many of which were quite hopeful, which was great. But it's all these different takes on poetry and on the lyrics of the songs, and all of, even if we're recording in our rooms by ourselves, all of the color and vitality that's so different that we bring to the performance, that I think has enabled this, even as a virtual performance, to be so real and to be so meaningful to us, and I hope also to the audience. So this was one of the reasons why when Corie asked me, and I also recruited Harmony, who I really didn't know, but I knew she wrote poetry, into the process. When she asked me to help, I was so happy to comply. I also am deeply grateful to Diane Frank, to Harmony, of course, and to Loretta Walker for their amazing collaboration and their contributions. We could not have done it without you. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. That was such a wonderful, heartfelt, and really representative sharing of I think, our process. It was, you know, collaboration can be really tricky in person, but then when we're divided by Zoom and have never met in person, it you know, it can be a challenge. But I think the poetry collaboration has just been this natural evolution of, let's find out what fits, what glues these pieces together, and we of course went down a lot of rabbit holes in the process that were really enjoyable. And of course heartfelt and grief-filled sometimes as well. So thanks for sharing that with us. I want to bring in Loretta Diane Walker's voice into this conversation. We are so grateful again for you sharing your reading of your poem, and you know, Loretta, you can read her incredible bio in our program, but Loretta, you know, is a 9-time pushcart nominee, a breast cancer survivor, and I love the part that says a teacher who still likes all her students. So Loretta, we're so grateful to have you here, and we just want to hear, first of all, if you wouldn't mind just framing your poem a little bit for us. What were the circumstances? What was happening for you when you wrote it? And you know, it's exciting that your poem was written, of course, during this time that we're talking about, during the past year and a half. So welcome.
Thank you. When I wrote this, it seemed like at the point the political climate was just incredible, and friendships were breaking up, families. I've lost some friends along the way, and the meanness out there behind belief system. No one was listening, and we had all of this going on. And then when I wrote this, when I wrote this poem, we went on spring break, And we didn't go back. It's just like everything shut down, school shut down, in the grocery store. People start back in this. We didn't know what to do. We're trying to navigate what's going on, say with the political climate going on, getting different messages from, at the time, our president at the time, just other mixed messages. And it's just, you could feel this separation even more, at the same time longing. And I thought about the elderly and some of those people. The places where they receive touch is bumping up against a stranger in the post office, bakeries. And I was just thinking about all of those people that are isolated. And it just broke my heart. And and some other things going on with me personally. I found out I was ill. There was just so much going on. And I had just finished attending a writing class, and one of the professors challenged some of the poets that were at that conference to write about what was going on. And this was basically something healing for me to write during this time. So I wrote it, and I wonder if we would even desire touch after the separation, because of the mistrust, because of the fear. And I wonder that. But my heart was breaking for the homeless, and that's hence the part about the cardboard boxes. Where do they go to be safe? And I'm sorry, I still get emotional thinking. Some people too that I couldn't get to during the time, that were in homes. An elderly cousin that died that couldn't go, and my aunt. It was just a hard time, and I just thought, we need kindness. We need kindness so desperate. Seemed like, it actually seemed like things got worse, politically, socially. And this was my poem of hope, and I'm still hoping. And I hope desire touch. It's basically what was going on. It was just, I missed the children, and I was worried about some of them, of course, what they would have to. We know home is not always safe for everyone. Some of those kids, so there was just so many emotions going on, and this was my outlet. And somehow this poem would reach someone, would touch someone, and let them know that someone does care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Loretta, so much for sharing. Oh, there we go. We just have a little bit of audio back and forth, but thank you so much for sharing so openly and vulnerably, and for bringing in the reality of this time still, for so many. Although we are hopeful and we are really excited, and we will toast at the end of our time together about the future and about getting to sing together, we recognize that this time, is not over, and that in other areas of the world, of course, the pandemic rages on. So thanks for bringing that into this conversation, Loretta. Can I just ask you one quick follow-up, if our audio allows us to,
Yes.
to
There's
chat?
I'm sorry, there's a storm
I
here.
know. You're joining us from Texas. Thank you so much.
And we have a storm going. So yes, I'll answer.
Yeah, thanks for joining us amidst the storm. Good heavens. Is there just one comment, even one sentence or whatnot, that you could share with us about kind of seeing your work in context of the music and of the other poems this evening? Is there something that kind of you thought about, or that, you know, seeing it in this context of musical and artistic responses kind of made you think?
When I heard the flute, of course, I wanted to cry. Coming up, but it's just beautiful is too simple. I mean, a poet, but I was overwhelmed. I was honored. I was filled with joy. I was filled with hope. I was filled with relief. I wanted to be a part, and then there was one part reaching out. I wanted to touch. I know that seems strange, but it's like I wanted to touch, and it was just an overwhelming experience. It was beautiful. I know it's not poetic, but it was just a beautiful experience. And I want to thank you. And I still want to reach out and touch the screen, just touch the beauty. Thank you so much. So very much.
Thanks, Loretta. Thank you so much. And thanks again for joining us from Texas amidst a storm, and for your beautiful words. You added so much poetry already. So if beautiful is definitely enough. So we wish you the best. Please stay safe, and thanks for joining us. I want to bring in just a couple more voices before we engage together a little bit. I want to ask our incredible collaborative pianist, Margaret, to join the conversation. Margaret, from the very beginning, I have to brag on her a little bit. From the very beginning, since the first, I guess, foot in the door, she has been an incredible support, and communicating just consistently about musical elements, about, yes, absolutely, nonstop communication. And I really couldn't have done this without her. So I'm truly forever grateful for Margaret's expertise and just kind of mentorship through this transitional time. So thank you, Margaret. And I want to ask you to just share a little bit about what is making music like for you during this pandemic. What kind of have you taken from this time? We'll start there, and then I'll ask you maybe a follow-up question.
Well, making music is definitely not ideal during this pandemic, especially as a collaborator. Actually, I was more worried about the singers, the insecurities they had recording alone, because I'm sure most of them wondered from the start, how does my single voice part fit in? And I wanted to somehow convey and comfort and mentally assure them that from the start, to trust your vision, to trust Corie's vision, to be able to envision and see the end picture of, say, this bouquet of flowers. You all started as an individual stalk, as an individual flower, And I hope Corie's direction of flower arranging and the base of the PWC community carried you through to the end result. It was a challenging time for all of us, and I just hope you all felt the support that we wanted to share with you all. As musicians, we shouldn't take for granted the ability to collaborate and communicate with others, and the exploration and interaction of musical dialogue is what makes music so personal and special. So I hope you all got just enough to get you through.
Thank you, Margaret. Gosh, the support is essential, and we just, again, I appreciate it, and I know that the singers appreciated it as well. And Margaret, you had the opportunity as well to bring in a colleague of yours, Yolande, who is a fantabulous cellist from the SF Opera, has played for years in the Bay Area and internationally with all of the great musicians. And 𝐸𝐵 was just an incredible addition to this program, as you all heard. His cello playing just made me weep the first time I heard it. Could you just share with us just a little bit about your collaboration with 𝐸𝐵? And I know you all got to play actually in person together. We saw that picture of you playing.
No, it was your fault. Thank you so much. 𝐸𝐵 is a dear friend, and we've been in a chamber group together for many years. So I didn't hesitate to put his name forward when I realized you needed a cellist. So to record our duos, it was technically challenging on our own. So we came to the decision to safely meet at my house, because by that time we were both vaccinated. So playing with 𝐸𝐵 is like putting on your favorite sweater or slipping into your favorite pair of jeans. It was so easy and comforting. So again, thank you, Corie, for forcing us to play in person. He wanted me to say that, we also dropped some acid and just walked to Golden Gate Park to, celebrate being together. No, we didn't do that. But it was such a thrill to play live again, even if it was just for a short moment. So again, thank you for just forcing that on us. I don't know what we'd do without you.
I just suggested that it would be a possibility if they were both comfortable with that at that moment. But it was beautiful to hear of both of your interactions and just your excitement. Both of them called me up directly after that recording and said, oh, it was so good. Oh my gosh, just so excited at seeing another human being and making music with that fellow human being. So thank you again, Margaret, really for your true collaboration and all of your support. We absolutely felt it throughout the process. And thank you so much, Margaret.
Thank you.
I want to bring in one more voice, friends. That is Katie's voice. Katerina is one of our newest members in the choir, and I will let you introduce yourself a little bit, but I just want you to wanted to end with a singer's voice, and I want you to share with us, Katie, what you hope to take from this time going forward into this moment where we're opening up. We'll have in-person rehearsals and go into the fall with a live concert, fingers crossed. But just introduce yourself and just share with us kind of one thing that you hope to take forward into the next part of singing live.
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone. Like Corie said, I'm a new singer. I've been with PWC for 2 semesters now. That's a little bit more than half a year. I think I echo a lot of other people when they say it feels isolated, singing by yourself feels naked, and I definitely feel that too. But if there's anything I can take away from it, is that there's also a lot of positivity. I actually, the reason why I'm a new singer is because commuting wouldn't have worked out for me if we weren't doing virtual choirs. So that's a big thing. And I know I'm not alone, like Harmony, Anne, and I think Michelle, they are also all from like all over the US outside of California. And, you know, this is just a great opportunity for me to meet new people and for like other people to know about PWC at the same time. I think what I wanted to take away is, you know, being flexible is pretty important. I have been singing, you know, choir music since I was in a kindergarten, and like growing up, decades was this kind of music kind of gave me a set mindset of, you know, singing live is the only way to do it. Not to process your sound with MIDI or like other things. That's a better way to do it. But, you know, it all had changed since last year. And I feel like being open and being flexible about how we do music going forward is probably something really important.
Thanks for ending on that note, Katie. I totally agree. I think that we're redefining a lot. We're coming back to that essential. And I think that we would be remiss to not think about what we want to bring from this time forward. Of course, we hope to leave behind the hundreds of recordings that we did, or, you know, the maybe self you know, negativity, like, that S, I can't get that S at the right place or whatnot. But okay, yep, Anne sang the body percussion on the offbeats. But yeah, really redefining, what does collaboration mean? What does flexibility mean? What does art mean? What is the point of us coming together? Is it to sound like the perfect MIDI file, or is it to create beauty? Is it to come back to what I mentioned at the beginning? Is it to redefine kind of our identity as a choir, as a human, as an artist in our world right now? So thanks for bringing that in, Katie. And thanks for being a member during the virtual time. I want to do a quick shout out really quickly. I see Christian here. Thank you so much to Arts Laureate for doing so much background work and putting up with our very particular, I asked him, am I being too picky? And Christian said, well, Corie, you are a more particular client, but that's great. So I appreciate you all putting up with us, but also really drawing out the best in us. I think, you know, good engineers, what I've learned in the past years, that good engineers and just, you know, audio technicians bring out the best in an ensemble. And yeah, thank you so much to Arts Laureate and to you for yeah, bringing out the best in us and making this possible.
Thank you. It was a real pleasure to work on. And I know I got to meet so many members of the ensemble at our presentation. And if you look behind me, just like revisit this video, this is incredible. Like, we looked at videos from like the Met and the LA Master Chorale, and like, this is one of the best like filmed set of videos we've ever received. And I'm just like so proud of you. And I hope you were able to see that the difference it made in the videos. And yeah, we just had such a great time working on them. And the audio, you know, we got great tracks, and then we spent time to get them like even just locked in, so that way you can sound like you, just like you would during a concert. And when we kind of got it organized, then the light shone through. It was like so cool behind the scenes to see to see it and hear it come together. And then for some of these pieces, we only worked on the audio. So we didn't know what was coming on the other side until today, when we got to watch those beautiful videos out in nature with the birds and at home, each joyful in their own way. So thanks so much for sharing that and adding those components. It was a real privilege to be able to work on part of those and collaborate with you.
Thanks so much, Christian, again. And shout out to Deanne Tucker, who did a lot of the videography and the editing and whatnot on the first 2 videos. I just pasted all of the family videos together. Friends, we have come to almost the end, and I want to give us, in an effort to come back to that essential, to come back to the community, I want to give us just a few minutes to be able to connect in a more individual setting. Now, when I say breakout rooms, very often certain people are like, I don't want to do a breakout room. So if you don't want to do a breakout room, just stay in the main room. We'll let people connect for a few minutes, and then we'll come back together, everyone, and share in a toast to this wonderful hard work that you all have done, and to the future of the PWC. So we're going to go into a few breakout rooms, and your prompt is exactly what is on your Menti poll. Your prompt in your breakout rooms is just to think about, reflect on the concert. So 3 words that came to mind during the program, and one thing that you were able to reflect on through this program. Reflect on about the past year, about the past week, in your own life. And I just want to give you that chance to connect in breakout rooms before we say see you later, say ciao for right now. So let's go into breakout rooms. We'll pull you back in about 4 minutes. You can just have a little bit of a chance to connect with each other. And again, no pressure. You can just stay right in here if you don't want to go into the breakout rooms, and I will bring up the Menti poll that you all have been typing into. So we'll see you in about 4 minutes. And let me screen share this incredible Menti poll that is populating as we speak. You can't take the pedagogue out of the conductor, so forgive the Menti poll and breakout rooms and whatnot. It's what I've learned to do in the past year. So let's see, what are they writing? 3 words that came to mind during We Have a Voice. Let's see, can you all see this? Ann Anderson, give me a thumbs up if you can see this. Cool? Okay. What came to mind? Beautiful, joy, inspiring, gratitude, technology, yes. Well done, polished, happiness, pride, professional, inspiration. Ooh, I love the word lush. Sonorous, uplifting, pride, enjoyable, healing. Great, healing is really important. It was part of the goal. And let's see what else they're writing on the other Menti poll, or the other page. And of course, you can feel free to add to this. Go to menti.com on your phone or your computer, and then enter that code that is at the top of this shared screen. So let's see, they're writing, were you able to reflect? Interesting. So this person says, the strange combination of isolation from normal and overwhelming, constant contact with the humans and pets in my home. There was beauty and pain most days. Yeah, absolutely, that duality. I really felt that as well. Yeah, the PWC stayed resilient, and as a result, we made it through this socially distanced pandemic. Nice. Some people missing, people who weren't there, a mom. even seeing people in boxes. It's amazing how when we just see even people's faces, I see Carolyn Whitty's face over in a box. I saw Bonnie's face before, I saw Anne's face. It's amazing how you can feel connected through the video, even though we're obviously in our own homes. My grandma's watching, my mom's watching from New York. It's pretty cool. The miracle of doing something collective even when we have been unable to gather. And then this person says, so grateful to the World Wide Web and the internet technologies for enabling me to enjoy streamed concerts. Awesome. So again, feel free to add if you want to add in a reflection. It's anonymous, so your name will not be connected to your reflection. Katie, I know you're timing this because I did not set my timer.
42 seconds left. They should be coming back now, or shortly.
Oh, I love it that 𝗔𝗵, who is our incredible, 𝗔𝗵's official title is graphic designer and artist extraordinaire. But 𝗔𝗵 Kim, who was a member of the choir, a pianist with the choir, but now is living in Milan, if I'm not mistaken, joined us very early in the morning. So happy that she could be here. Thank you, 𝗔𝗵. Welcome back, everyone. I know that those few minutes were probably not long enough. Thank you so much for connecting with each other. I'm just going to share a little bit of what you wrote, and feel free to share in the chat if you have any anything else you want to just share that came up from your discussions. Welcome back, welcome back. I know it's so annoying to be cut off by the 60-second mark, but I just want to share with you again, if you did not see the results of the Menti poll, just a little bit of your reflections. And it's so wonderful to kind of see that the community is strong despite this pandemic. There's a lot of gratitude, a little bit of loss, and just this strange combination of isolation and then also constant contact, that duality. 3 words that came up to some of you are now on your screen. Hallelujah, joy, rich, enjoyable, happiness, technology, impressive, heartwarming, frustration, gratitude, passion, timely, and uplifting are some of those words. So thanks again so much, you all, for being here and for sharing in this moment to kind of take stock of where we are, especially as we come out of a stage, at least of this time of this pandemic, and celebrate where we are through music and through the incredibly profound artistry of the Peninsula Women's Chorus. It's been my absolute honor to be the interim artistic director this spring and to get the chance to work with you all. Especially thanks to Margaret for your artistry and your collaboration, to Katie, who is the behind the scenes, not only singing in the choir, but behind the scenes organizational goddess. We could not have done this without you. And to Deanne, to Susan and Lisa, who you saw their beautiful video. We had a lot of fun filming that in a beautiful field of flowers. That was really a lot of fun. To Barbara, Harmony, Loretta, and Diane for your poetry. Again, thank you so much for that. I think that it was the icing on top of the cake. To Moira Smiley, of course, for your collaboration and absolute support throughout this entire process. And Emil and Ray and Christian for your collaboration. And then also, of course, Jung-mi and Yi-Ting, who did a lot of the publicity work and behind the scenes work. To Trisha and the entire board of directors, from the very beginning, your support was present and you were absolutely all in with this artistic vision. So thank you especially to the board of directors for making this happen. And last but not least, to the audience, to you patrons and supporters of the arts. We could not be here without you, and especially during this time. It is so heartening to see so many people here and so many supporters of the PWC and of choral music and of treble choral music during this time. We're very, very grateful for your continued support throughout the pandemic and into the future. And last but not least, before Trisha ends our time together with a short toast, singers, thank you. Thank you for your hearts. Thank you for your voices. Thank you for your patience with Zoom rehearsals and the many, many takes. And thank you for truly just sharing your artistry and your commitment to excellence. I am humbled that I get the possibility to work with such musicians as yourselves. And I can't wait to see where the Peninsula Women's Chorus goes into the future. So thank you so much. And I'm going to pass it over to Trisha to end with a toast.
Unmute. Okay, well, I have my glass of champagne, which is going in and out of focus, but so hopefully you all have a glass of something to celebrate with. I would like to propose a toast to the hard work of everyone who worked on this. Corey's already named them all, so I won't name them again. Also to the bravery of everyone who worked on this. I think that was an important part of it. And most importantly, to the future of PWC, and may it be in real life soon. Cheers. Thank you to everyone for coming.
Thanks so much, Trisha. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thanks for being here.